Welcome to the Healthy Skin Show with Jennifer Fugo, where we're flipping everything you've been told about your chronic skin issues upside down and connecting you with alternative solutions your dermatologist never told you about.
Welcome back to episode number 93 of the Healthy Skin Show. In today's episode, I want to share with you some tips and tricks of how to stay on your elimination diet, if you're on one already, around holidays, special events, office parties, barbecues, the holidays. That way you don't offend your host, you don't feel pressured into eating things that you know are going to be problematic, and you're just seen by everybody as being super easygoing and laid back about the whole food thing. So it reduces the amount of tension and emotional strain that tends to happen around this time of year. We're in the holiday season right now. And what I don't want for you is to end up flaring because you're super stressed out about your diet, about attending parties, and having these what can be awkward interactions with people because they weren't properly thought out. Since I have a lot of experience coaching clients around this for many, many years and doing this myself, I figured I would share a few pearls to help you get through these situations so that you don't have any more added stress on your shoulders and ultimately can enjoy the time that you have with people who are either special to you or you need to be around because, well, it's work. Now, you guys know that I'm not a big fan of massive elimination diets, but I also recognize that many people in our community are on some version of an elimination diet for their skin because personally, with my clients, I do recommend at a bare minimum that they go gluten-free. But here's the thing. Even if you've got gluten-free or dairy-free or egg-free or whatever, like you got it, you nailed it, you know how to do it, it's a totally different story when the holidays or a special event rolls around because your diet can cause a lot of trouble. And people who don't understand what you're doing can become very offended when you refuse their food. Food is a cultural device that brings families together, brings people together, and when you say no, regardless of the reason, a lot of people who are not familiar with health conditions or don't think that there's any connection between food, diet, and health may not understand. And what can result are fractured relationships, no more invitations, and unfortunately, very hurt feelings that can last for many years. And one of the biggest reasons why this happens is due to last-minute announcements. So last-minute announcements would include calling the host the day before the event and letting them know that you're not going to be eating their food, or showing up to a party where there is dinner being served and all of a sudden you don't have any food on your plate and refuse to eat the food and then announce that it's for your skin or your gut or your thyroid or whatever. And people start to give you the stink eye. And while you might not be implying anything about the healthfulness of the food, the person who made it or who is serving it will feel judged. They'll feel like, so wait, what are you saying? My food's bad for us? My food's not good enough for you? And wait, what the heck is this whole thing about you can't eat the food because you got some rash? Huh? What? I've never even heard of that. Sounds like you're just making stuff up because you don't want to eat my food. That's how they will feel, even if you don't intend for that to happen. So here's how to handle your diet and minimize conflict around holidays and special events. First of all, tell the host at least 1 to 2 weeks in advance. The larger the event, like a wedding, you probably should give even more notice. Second, be clear that you aren't trying to make things more difficult. Let them know that you deeply appreciate the invitation, but at this time, due to your blank condition, fill that in, you're utilizing different tools such as diet to help quell your flares and keep you feeling healthier. Because you've gotten fed up dealing with all the pills and the creams, or you might be using pills and creams, you're just trying to make sure that you don't have some sort of debilitating flare. And so diet is one of the pieces that you're playing around with, and unfortunately, you're not in a position to be able to cheat or compromise on that. So the solution here is, since I know that you're working so hard on the meal, what I can do is I can bring my own food. I'll heat it up and plate it on your plate and sit with everyone else. That way we can eat together, and it takes the stress off of you of having to change your menu last minute to accommodate one person. And I know that you probably would be open to doing that, but I don't want to put that stress on you. So I think this is the easier solution. And I'm also happy to make 1 or 2 dishes to bring to the party as well to support you and make your life easier. So please let me know what I can bring. Approaching an invitation in this way shows respect, courtesy, and builds goodwill between you and the host. It helps them to know what to expect, not to be blindsided, and ultimately feel embarrassed in front of other guests when you refuse to eat their food. That way the conversation never has to happen in front of everyone else. They're already aware of what's going on, and hopefully they're more understanding about it. Now, there is no guarantee that that will work, but in most instances, it will. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to a catered affair like a wedding, you're going to have to ask for the caterer's phone number long in advance to discuss the options on the menu. You may be able to get something safe from them that's made specifically for you, but if that is not the case, they also may give you the option to bring your own food in a container, which they will heat up, plate, and then serve to you during the dinner course. In this particular case, you would need to respond to the invitation in the RSVP section immediately that you have food restrictions, and then call the host directly. That way you can resolve this 6 weeks, 8 weeks out from the event, and then you may even want to follow up with the caterer the week of the event just to double check, especially if this is an event that's really important to you. It's a family member or a close friend that's getting married, for example, and you ultimately want to be present, but you don't want to be dealing with food and getting in arguments with people last minute because nothing went right. Assume that you are not the centerpiece of their focus, and that means you have to check up and follow up on your request around a special meal. If the event is held at a restaurant, it's super easy to find the restaurant menu online most of the time. I would then follow up with the manager of the restaurant and ask them explicitly what you can have based on your food restrictions. Work it out ahead of time, decide what you're going to eat so that when you show up, you don't have to have this embarrassing conversation of going through the menu with the waitress while everyone else is waiting on you. All you need to do at that point is let them know what your food restrictions are to make note of it and share that with the chef, and that you're going to be having these particular items. Think about how much less stressful that is compared to everyone sitting there waiting on you, glaring at you, being frustrated at how long this entire back and forth takes as they check with the kitchen, they check with the chef. You are likely going to end up feeling increasingly uncomfortable and feel like people are judging you and staring at you, and sometimes they may be frustrated with how long this process takes. Work it out ahead of time. It will reduce your stress levels exponentially. And despite your best efforts, in some instances, people may not understand. You do have to know that going in, and you do have to prepare yourself for that. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will be accommodating. Some people will constantly make nasty comments even years after you make diet changes. Sometimes it can help to share what's been going on with you and be as explicit as possible. You don't have to tell them every nitty-gritty detail. But when people don't know what's going on, and you can't assume that they know, that's the other piece to this. Do not assume that someone else truly understands the burden and struggle of your skin rashes or your health. You have to be clear with them as far as what's going on to help them be able to empathize with you and to be on your side. And that ultimately makes the dinner conversation or the food conversation a lot easier. Either way, I hope that what I have shared will help you this holiday season and beyond. If you have any additional thoughts or questions, you can head on over to skinterrupt.com/093 and share those in the comments section so we can keep the conversation going. And you know what to do. Head on over to your podcast platform of choice. rate and review the podcast, and then hit the subscribe button so that the next episode lands on your mobile device without you having to do a thing. And last but not least, you guys know I love to share. So please, if you know someone who's struggling with this or someone who's at the beginning of figuring out this whole food elimination thing, share this episode with them. It will help alleviate so much stress and make their holiday season or special occasion that much better. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.